I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I got eyes in the back of my head, I'm seeing. Take me for granted and you know I'm leaving. I'ma take what's mine with the webs I'm weaving. I could take this crowd from seeing to believing. Got a taste for blood and my tongue keeps bleeding from the words I spit. So sharp, so freezing, so cold. Behold, frostbite they feeling. I could tear you apart or I could go heal them. Don't believe in fate.
Introducing the all-new Volkswagen Terramont X 2023. The 7-seater Volkswagen Terramont SUV has enough space to pack in a barbecue pit and a surfboard. And yes, the kids too. The road snaking its way up from the base of the Al Jabal Al Akhdar mountain in Oman, a 2-hour drive from Muscat, was never built for civilians. There's a military base and a high-altitude airfield located here. However, there's also now the Anantara Al Jabal Al Akhdar Luxury Resort, one of 2 big 5-star hotels located in this mountain range, both of which have opened in the last 5 years and encourage droves of civs to visit the area. We set out to the mountain early in the afternoon from Muscat in the all-new Volkswagen Terramont, VW's first ever 7-seater SUV in the region. They're there to specifically ward off anything other than 4x4s from climbing the mountain, and with good reason. There are very steep switchbacks along the route that was designed for 200 horsepower battle-ready tanks, not people-hauling machines. The route is so steep that it takes less than 20 minutes to get to the 6,500 square foot Haisake Plateau, where the Anantara is located. Still, the 3.6-liter V6 doesn't break a sweat during the ascent. You can keep the 8-speed gearbox in automatic mode for most of the way up. Globally, Volkswagen is on an SUV offensive strategy. A necessary move when you consider that 1 of every 4 cars sold in the world today is an SUV. Sure, there's the Tiguan and Touareg, but VW needed something that could slot comfortably into its lineup and introduce a full 7-seater capacity into its arsenal. The Terramont debuted in the US last year under the name Atlas. The American market has its own nomenclature for its cars. Subsequently, it was rolled out in Canada, Mexico, China, Russia, and now in the Middle East. It's built on VW's excellent MQB platform, that versatile platform that underpins cars from the Polo and Passat to the Terramont. At 360mm long, it's significantly longer and wider than the Touareg. VW has done well to maximize the long wheelbase to translate that into an airy cabin. There are 3 rows of seats and even a 6-footer can comfortably sit in the middle row, which can be configured to lock down 3 car seats. Don't have 3 kids? No problem. You can have the middle row configured with 2 individual captain seats, each with their own armrests. You lose a 7th seat, which you really don't need if you are a family of 4, and the kids won't be jostling and ribbing each other through those weekend drives out of town. Frankly, a worthy trade-off. Our test drive car is the top-of-the-line cell model that has an R-Line aesthetic package added onto it. The large sunroof floods the cabin with plenty of natural light. The cell model gets a bass-laden 12-speaker Fender music system, ventilated car seats up front, and an 8-inch infotainment screen in the front console, which is surprisingly easy to navigate when you want to pair your phone or control the car's individual climate zones. The 2022 Volkswagen Terramont Highline R-Line. The Terramont continues VW's trend of naming vehicles after the letter T, like the Touareg, T-Roc, and Tiguan. If you have a penchant for etymology, you may know that the name is the portmanteau of the Latin words terra, which means land, and mont, which means mountain. And yes, it is exactly what the name describes, a large mass. The first generation was a tired-looking beast, even at the time of its reveal. It was a vehicle that VW seemingly dressed down to look inferior to the simplistic Touareg. But with the newly facelifted version, they've done some real magic, and that too with minimal input. They have maintained the bold rectangular proportions, the angular styling cues, and pronounced wheel arches with plastic trims, while injecting a fair amount of style by playing around with the luminaires, now all LED, the grille, and the fenders. Our test car, being the R-Line variant, came with exterior black matte inserts and beautiful giant 21 inches wheels. But I do admit anything smaller than 20 inches rims cheapen the overall look. And the faux exhaust tips, though hard to notice, aren't anyone's favorite, including mine. But what you need to know is that the overall result is something that makes you want to go HMMM. In a good way, no doubt. Thankfully, they haven't altered the interior much. It has a straightforward Germanic aesthetic, just straight lines, no overly imaginative curvatures, or gimmicky elements that designers often insert when they know not what to do. Some may find a certain degree of austerity in it, but everyone will appreciate the roominess, enough to pretend swim, and the very airy feeling rendered, thanks to the large windows and panoramic sunroof. And soft plastics at key touchpoints also give it a quality feel. The Highline's Vienna leather upholstered seats are both supple and supportive for the long drives, and the 10-way power adjustability on the driver's side and 6-way on the passengers makes getting cozy easy. The third row, however, is suitable for the shorter folk or kids, but with a little adjustment of the slide-able second row, a good spatial compromise can be achieved. All of the Terramont's vitals are visualized on a 10 inches color digital display, which replaces the analog gauges of its predecessor. And its menus are customizable through the average-sized 8 inches infotainment screen, one that comes with reasonably obedient voice and gesture controls. The media system also offers wireless charging and 2 USB Type-C ports. And I'm glad they've retained a good mix of digital and physical buttons and knobs, especially for the volume and tuner adjustments. Under the hood, they've kept it simple and cost-effective. No new tech, just the famous, old-fashioned naturally aspirated 3.6-liter V6 engine that makes a decent 280 PS of power. The 360 Nm of max torque is multiplied by the 8-speed automatic, which distributed to all 4 wheels via the VW's 4Motion all-wheel drive system. On the road, despite its size and weight, the Terramont responds to throttle dips with fervor, never bogging down at any point. And even with all 7 passengers aboard and their respective belongings, the VR6 motor tugs along without complaint, which is important to know. The Terramont may not be touted as a luxury vehicle, but with every kilometer you travel you question this bias. It wafts over tarmac undulations on the highway with the composure that Henry Royce and Charles Rolls would be proud of, while taking little away from its dynamics. And with light turns of the R-Line sporty flat-bottom steering wheel, the Terramont changes direction without throwing the chassis off balance. Also to be noted is the top-quality cabin insulation, which bars the chatter of the wind, tires, and other ambient noise as well. As for fuel economy, it will average around 7 kilometers per liter if you're keeping score. Besides the regular drive modes, such as Eco, which dampens throttle response, and Sport, which sharpens it, you also get a drive mode selector that you can adjust for low traction and off-road terrains. But I wouldn't venture beyond beach drives and casual trail runs. Leave the dunes of Bad Air for a more capable vehicle. Even with the third row up, you get 583 liters of space behind the tailgate. That's as much as what a large sedan offers. Dropping both second and third rows brings that number to a huge 2,471 liters, which is a space that can swallow up all the luggage you can muster. And things like the 60/40 split folding second row and tech bits like the ability to open up the boot with the sweep of the foot and a 12-volt port make things easier. The top-spec Highline gets the 480-watt 12-speaker Fender audio system. Yes, the famed guitar manufacturer isn't the first name that comes to mind in discussions of car audio, but the in-car unit does belt out tunes in high fidelity even in high volumes, be it while tuning into the radio stations or streaming music via Bluetooth. Speaking of which, with up to 4 driver profiles, you can not only activate the favorite individualized radio stations for each driver, but also set the mirror positions, climate controls, etc. And that really helps in a household with more than one driver. VW isn't renowned for the high-performance climate control units, but the days spent riding in the Terramont were acceptably cool and comfy, thanks to the decent 3-zone climate control and heated, cooled seats for the front passengers. With the focus being the family, there is also a large suite of safety features to keep you reassured, like high beam control, adaptive cruise control, 360-degree camera, and blind spot detection. Again, the young mamas and papas out there will be happy to know that there are ISO FIX anchorage points for mounting up to 3 child seats on the second row. The joy of owning and driving a vehicle that does exactly what it is built to do is something else. With the 2022 Volkswagen Terramont, the German manufacturer has brought subtle but tasteful revisions to this 7-seater family SUV. This, in combination with the smooth operator of a V6 powertrain and a quiet, roomy interior, makes it a tough one to beat.